Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford, your host, and if you've been following this show, you know I love all things business and all things money. Welcome back to our E360 TV community and those who are streaming this show. And today I have a very special guest. We are going to be talking about how you can leverage your sales system in order to generate income. We talk about scaling. We talk about people chasing after the six figure, whatever that means. Well, this gentleman who's going to come to the stage, we're not only going to be talking about a six figure annual income, but what about if I challenge you to reach for a six figure monthly income? So when we get back, I will bring to the stage none other than the amazing Shay Brown for his formal introduction. Here we go.
Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators with award-winning business strategist and financial analyst, LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group. With Raw Talk, we are empowering women to rise and succeed in business and finances, and improve the world for the next generation. Get ready to get raw and real. Live each Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.
Welcome, Shay Brown. How's it going?
Well, it's a great day, LaWanna. Thank you so much for having me here. It's exciting to be a part of what you're doing, the difference you're making for entrepreneurs and business leaders that are all over the world. This type of forum where you can have real talk about real problems with real solutions. So thanks for having me here. I couldn't wait. Couldn't think of a better place to be than right now here with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shay. You've been on our stage a couple times, and I know you've been doing a lot of amazing things, some new and exciting things. In addition to being a sales guru, a leader, and an influencer, you also are innovative when it comes to scaling our business, leveraging sales, leveraging systems. One of the things you say is systems crush competition every time. And not only are you championing this cause and this message, but you're showing people the way. You are the CEO and founder of Easy Sales Hub. Your sales experience is touching thousands of lives around the world. You have this amazing Happy Entrepreneur show that comes on late night, the #1 entrepreneur show in the nation. Mm-hmm. And you also have some amazing kudos to your name, including being recognized by USA Today as one of the top sales professionals to look out for in the U.S. And I think the world is leaning in and listening to what Shay Brown has to say. Yes?
Yes, I mean, it's pretty cool. We are excited about what we're doing. And yes, we own the fact that we've written a best-selling book called Sales Swagger. That's pretty cool. And yes, we're helping entrepreneurs build a seven-figure sales team using our methodology called the Evergreen Revenue Model. And it's always good when you're recognized by your peers, people like you, LaWanna Bradford, and other folks that are out there. Is one of the entrepreneurs to keep an eye out on. And that's super exciting. But, you know, for the audience that's listening, as cool as that is and exciting as that is, they might be curious about the Shay Brown who was a stutterer in the third grade, by the way, the Shay Brown who worked for corporate America and then got laid off and found himself in bankruptcy. They might be curious about the Shay Brown that launched some things because he didn't know how to sell. He hated sales. He resisted sales with every fiber in his body and going through some very painful times by not being able to have the confidence or the courage to even reach out to new clients or strangers to talk about what he did. And so he adopted a methodology, which was fall up until they buy or die, or keep making phone calls. Somebody's going to buy. That just had his business crash and burn. And if you're out there and you're listening as LaWanna gets into some real talk, I just wanted to share that I get it. That I'm just like you. I'm a father for those folks that are curious, by the way. So I have two grown adults. You know what that's like. I'm happily married. It's my third marriage. That means the two that I had didn't work. That's a story for another time. I wasn't doing the right thing. I take full responsibility. I was a young man then, but full of some ideas that just some things I shouldn't have done that I did, but I'm on my third marriage. We've been together for 14 years. Someone that I was in love with in high school that didn't even recognize me because I wasn't in a cool kids club, to someone that's now a grandfather. By the way, my youngest son had my first grandson, Lennox. So I'm excited. So LaWanna, I'm happy to be here. And yes, well, that's some cool stuff you talked about. Maybe later in the real talk, we'll be able to share that it wasn't always this way. I know it's like to get your water cut off. So we'll back over to you, man. I just wanted to say that thanks for those kudos. I appreciate it. And later the audience will get to know that it was a journey to get here. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I love that you shared that, and I'd like to just unpackage that a little bit. Like you said, you get it. You've been there. You felt the sting and the pain of wondering how you're going to pay your bills. Maybe even feeling a little nervous about, do you have what it takes to do your passion? Like, here you are. I mean, you are recognized as a sales guru. Your words, your voice is your moneymaker. But you mentioned that you had to overcome stuttering, and that you even had a fear or phobia with sales. So can you take us through that journey, and what steps did you use to help strengthen your resolve and your belief that you could do it and you could win?
Sure. Let me frame the conversation if I can. There I was in the third grade. I was in Miss Kurt's class in Dale City, Virginia. And Miss Kurt's a teacher that I was in love with, by the way. I'm not ashamed to admit that. As a little boy, I was just in love with this woman. But anyway, topic for another time. She called me back to the front of the room to talk about a story that we had read. Now, I don't remember what the story was. I remember when I stood up, all the kids started laughing again and pointing at me. And I was trying to get the words out. I remember seeing the words, but I was stuttering. I couldn't get the words out. And this wasn't unusual, right? This has been happening since the second grade. And I don't know what it was, but on that particular day, Ms. Kurtz took me down to the principal's office. They called Mother Dear in. We had this conference with me sitting there and them acknowledging, that's the counselor, saying that I have a severe stuttering problem and I needed to go to well, back then they called it a different class. Now they call it a class where you can be with self-enhancement. I don't know what the word is these days, but back then it wasn't the cool word. You didn't want to be in that class with those folks. I'll say it like that as kindly as I can. And so it was demoralizing. I went home because they said I had a severe stuttering problem. I'm talking to Mother Dear. Mother Dear, by the way, was a bishop of a Pentecostal church. Everything I learned in the Pentecostal church. To talk about that maybe a little later on, by the way. We only had 35 members in our church, 25 kids. Okay, it's a very small church. But Mother Dear proceeded to tell me when we got home that I didn't have a stuttering problem. Now, I'm only in the third grade, okay? You can imagine what I'm thinking. This is kind of weird. You get sent home, you go to the principal's office, and now I'm going to be put into another class because I can't be in that class over there. Something's wrong. She says, no, you don't have a severe stuttering problem. And I want you to hear what she told me. So you lean in if you're listening right now. You tune in very carefully. What she said was these words. She said, Che, you don't have a stuttering problem. You're just smarter than everyone else. Your brain is thinking so fast that the words can't get out. So you just keep trying. You just slow down, but you just keep trying. Now, I adopted that belief that I was very, very smart. I adopted the belief that I had a problem thinking as fast as I could talk. And so there was a little challenge there. And I held that belief until I was in high school in the 10th grade, where I learned that Mother Dear had lied to me. Okay, the bishop of the church had lied to me. I did have a stuttering problem. Shay, what's the point of that story? Why are you sharing that with me? How does that relate to me, an entrepreneur? How does that relate to me as a business owner? Well, maybe you believe this one idea. There's sometimes you need someone to believe in you before you can believe in yourself. Now, you might want to write that down in your notes. This is real talk. This is like we're behind the scenes. We're having a real conversation. Sometimes you need someone else to believe in you before you believe in yourself. So Mother Dear held the belief in me. And because she held the belief, that mean I could talk. It just meant that I kept trying. It just meant that I kept giving every effort that I have, because if I believed I had a problem, you know what? I might have given up. I might not be talking to you today. I still talk fast to this day. I still stutter and have a fear, even now, that I'm going to stutter and not say the correct word in the right way and enunciate. And so maybe that led me on the journey to really focusing on being able to write, That was my getaway, LaWanna. I don't know if I've ever shared this publicly, but my getaway was, well, I could start writing sentences and I could write letters, and I'd write letters to women. I couldn't talk. I wasn't as cool as everybody else. And so I would try to express myself that way. And here's why I tell you the story. When I got laid off in corporate America and I decided to start my own company because I had a severance check, and a couple of my friends had their own freaking company. And I'm thinking, well, shoot, I got about 16 months here, got a little money saved in the 401k and some money saved. I'm good. How hard can this business thing be? I mean, I went to Morgan State University. I had an undergraduate in business. I went to Johns Hopkins University. I had this master's in business. I was going to be okay. But there was a challenge. Once I got started, 90 days later, I'm burning through the money. Now, it's amazing. Isn't it amazing how fast you burn through money? No, seriously. I mean,
Yes.
think about your own life, right? Think about your own bank account. Have you ever seen, maybe I'm all alone, but there might be someone out there that's like me. You saw your bank account go down. You never looked at it, but one day you went and looked and said, whoa, where did the money go? And the biggest challenge I have, and the reason I say this, I'm coming back over to you now, is that I didn't see myself in sales. To me, a salesperson was a slick, fast-talking car salesman. Maybe you're picturing someone with yellow banana pants on, some purple shoes on, an orange feather cap, in their head saying, hey, you want to buy something you really don't want? And that wasn't going to be me. But here's the challenge. You can put this in your notes if you're taking notes, and this is real talk. Sales is the oxygen to every great business in history. And without sales, there's always more money going out than there is coming in. So, LaWanna, I had a challenge because I resisted something that really, honestly, would give me financial freedom. I resisted something that would give me choices to go to certain doctors, choices to eat certain food. I resisted something that would allow me to be a contributor. When I say a contributor, when you generate more money in your business, you can contribute to the causes you believe in. You can write a check and finance those things that you say are near and dear to your heart. Wherever they are, it doesn't matter what side you're on, you're going to fund that cause. And so I had to embrace something called sales. And I didn't do it by myself. In 1 minute, LaWanna, I'll come to you. I'm on a rant. Sorry about that. But I went to a guy named Eric Loftum over in California. And here's what he shared with me. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when LaWanna has this show, you only need one idea. Like, how many ideas do you need to change your life? One. And LaWanna gives out many ideas. She has many of the experts are on here. You only need one. I'm at a $5,000 back in 2004. Jeez, I don't know when you're going to watch this, but as of now, it's almost 20 years ago. I'll just say that. And that was a lot of money. And I borrowed the money because I didn't have it from a family member, because this guy said he could help you build a business. And when I got there, he gave me an idea. First, he said, Shay, you should focus on sales. No way. Under no circumstance, I ain't focused on sales. I'm a business consultant. How dare you insult me? The reality was, wasn't nobody paying me to know a business consultant. Here's what he said to change my life around sales. He said, selling equals service. Now, there was a lot of training. I don't remember everything else that went on for 3 days. We were there 5 days. I don't remember all the other stuff. He said, selling equals service. Selling equals service. Selling equals service. Jot that down in your notes. And I grasped that one idea and said, wait a minute. If I serve, then I don't have to sell them anything. I can solve a problem. I can give value. And that's selling? But geez, I can do that. And so the reason I tell that story, LaWanna, is that entrepreneurs that are out there, when you take a look at the one business skill that every CEO needs, and most CEOs don't come from a sales background, myself included. Okay, they were never taught sales. If you were, you don't have to listen to this conversation. You can tune me out. You just wait till a little later on. But most would never were. But it's the one skill that will shift your business. And then once you can bring a sales team on, it's just another level. So the reason I tell that story is to tell you this: selling equals service. When you embrace sales, when you embrace serving, when you embrace helping people solve a problem, and I close with this: you don't chase the money. It's a Shayism. You don't chase the money. Listen to me. You don't chase the money. You add value. And I promise you, the money will chase you. Back over to you, LaWanna.
I love everything that you've said, and there's a lot. So we're gonna unpackage it, because some of you may think, oh my God, LaWanna, you didn't tell me I would have to be drinking from a fire hose today. Yes, you did.
Sorry, I'll go a little slower.
No, but this is really good. Again, this is raw talk. So we are unpackaging some things that maybe you don't want to talk about, or maybe you put on the back burner. It's been percolating, but you've given yourself excuses as to why you can't move forward in your dream, in your passion. And I love what you said, is that selling is service. And speaking to that entrepreneur, particularly women entrepreneurs, there are so many coaches, I want to call them the nouveau coaches out there, that's talking about, well, you're not really selling, so they're making selling almost like it's a bad thing. So let's sugarcoat it and put other words around it. But we are selling, right? If we are offering a product or a service and there's a price on the other end, or we're asking for something in return, there's an exchange, whether it's commerce, time, or resources, it is a form of selling, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I love what you just said, selling equals service. So for those of you that are kind of stuck in your head about, I don't want to do the sales thing, then first you have to ask yourself, do you want to be in business? And then second of all, if you just need to have that paradigm shift, pick up the quote that Shay just shared with us and let it own it. Own it. Allow that to just resonate with you, that I'm showing up in a way that's serving. I'm showing up in a way that is solving problems. I'm showing up in a way that's giving hope, that's helping a person learn from my mistakes, right? So that they can get there, go farther faster than I did. And yes.
Let's add on to what you were saying. If you think about it, and I don't believe having resistance to selling, because in the world that we're in, they've made it such a negative thing. Okay. I'm part of the Puff Daddy generation. I've got my AARP car. So I got remix versions on everything. We're shifting the paradigm, just like LaWanna's shifting the paradigm for entrepreneurs and the media, entrepreneurs with their finances. We're part of a new generation that's creating a new narrative that's selling really is service. And I want you to look at it from this perspective, if you can. I'm going right back to you, LaWanna. There's a lot of folks that don't see themselves in sales. And I get that. But think about this. Preachers, every single week, are selling faith, right? No matter what your belief systems are. Teachers, every single day, are selling education, public or private. They don't see themselves in sales. Parents, I'm a parent. Every single day, we don't see ourselves in sales, but we're selling values. Brush your teeth. Do the right thing. Say yes, ma'am. Say yes, sir. Whatever they are, we're selling those values. So the biggest sale you make every single day is to yourself. And in that sale is really the belief. And it's in those beliefs, not about sales, but about you as a person, you as a character, you and the things you're going to do. You've got to sell yourself on doing the things you know that you should already do. And isn't that a huge sale? So we're all in sales, and it can be a very way to serve, number one, and it can be a way to change lives all over the world. So it's not about the money, but it's about the meaning you have in the world when you serve and have more money. Okay. You can have more meaning when you have more money. You can ask Oprah if you want to. Just call Oprah up and say, Oprah, are you having more meaning today because you're able to serve people through a capacity? You have more impact when you have more income. Write a check to fund a scholarship for someone to go to school. Tell me how much impact you just had. Write a check right now. In our neighborhood, there's kids that have gone back to schools, and it's not about me. It might be about you. It felt good to write a check for those folks that need uniforms, because in DC public schools, a lot of these schools have uniforms, and some of the parents, for whatever reason, very legitimate challenges, they can't afford to buy the clothes for their kids to go to school, and they're wearing a uniform. So businesses like myself and others, we've written a check to help them. Now, I'm not saying it about Shay Brown. I'm not saying that at all. But think about the impact, even if it's for one little girl, one little boy that's able to have the exact uniform they need and feel good when they walk through those doors and have more confidence and be able to focus more. It feels freaking amazing. Or maybe you just want to make $1 and a difference on this planet while you're here. You'll make much more of a difference, which is why I believe you're on this planet, as a result of you being able to sell your ideas, sell your beliefs, sell your leadership skills, whatever it may be. And my point is, and I close with this, we're all in sales. So I want you to embrace selling. I want you to embrace and see yourself as a servant leader or as a servant selling. You can call it servant selling. You want something fancy and smancy, but you're a servant and you're selling. So back over you, LaWanna. I just want to make sure I paint that picture that we're all in sales.
We are, and I love that. And you started off, when you're talking about Mother Dear and the belief that she put in you, right? And you held to that, and that ended up shaping how you tapped into you, how you showed up in the world. And I want to challenge everyone again. I hope you're leaning into all of these amazing golden nuggets that Shay Brown is sharing. It first starts with belief. I tell people every day, Shay, if you cannot, and I'm using the quote from Abraham Hicks, if you cannot be tapped in, tuned in, sold out for you, why are you expecting the world to stand up and applaud you? You got to believe in you. I mean, that is a very attractive quality to have, to show up boldly, to show up authentically in your purpose. And as you said, through selling, you are serving, you're changing the world. I believe if you change one life, just one, you've changed the next generation because you've changed the mindset. You may change how they show up, how they respond to their children, how they are investing themselves in the betterment of society. That's pretty profound, and it feels good, right, Shay?
It feels good, and it feels good to focus on the fundamentals. Everyone jot this down in your notes. Never underestimate the power of the fundamentals. One thing I like about LaWanna is why she does a lot of fancy things. She teaches the fundamentals. Spend less than you make and invest your money in vehicles that will help make you more money. It's very fundamental. Easy to do, easy not to do, right? I will say that. My grandma used to say it's always easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. You think about Mother Dear. Mother Dear is 76 years old. I happen to be a caregiver, by the way. She has Parkinson's. She's in a senior condo living space with doctors and folks there, and she's doing really well. Still has our mental faculties and so forth. But one of the things she did, she worked for 37 years for the Department of Commerce down on 14th in Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. Same building. Can you imagine that? 37 years, different floors, different the government. But she did some fundamental things so she could retire at 55 in her life. And she focused on some fundamental things. One was spending less than she made. And I don't know how she did that. Second was purchasing, and when LaWanna talks about this, into vehicles that allowed her to have the care that she needed when the day came. She was prepared. Now, how does that relate to us in sales or as an entrepreneur? Well, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO of the company, they always say, no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. No, someone's coming to save you. It's called your future you. Like you sitting right there, your future you is going to save you from tomorrow by the things you do today. And I always say as CEOs, as it relates to sales, if I can give them this one idea, that there's 5 fundamental pillars that you got to master as a CEO as it relates to sales. And I'm going to give you the 5. I just want you to have those because this is real talk. And in doing so will allow you to build an organization, have a company that brings in more money than goes out and give you the resources. And that's what revenue is, because revenue gives you the resources to purchase everything you need to be successful in the business.
Shay, before we go
let me
into
give you the 5.
Well, hold on. Before you go into those 5 steps, I want to tee this up a little bit. So we have right now, we know and I'm speaking to those in the US and even around the world. I mean, the economy is in a state of flux, right? We're still in a pandemic world, but the pandemic crises has now evolved into an economic challenge for many, many people, especially the entrepreneurs. Women have been adversely impacted during this season more than anyone else. You have the great exodus happening. So people are leaving corporate America without a plan. They just know, I don't want to work for anyone anymore, but they don't really have a plan of how they're going to survive when challenges happen, when shifts happen, because they will if you're in business long enough. I mean, you face the financial pain of business. I almost lost everything in business. But you focus on again, the sales system, right? And often we think that we can be successful by just having a dream, hope, a wish, and a prayer. And hope isn't a method. But when we have a process that is now overlaid by systems where we can forecast and have measurable results, that in and of itself can be a game changer. So before you go into the 5 steps, can you talk a little bit about this sales system, the sales hub, and then go into those 5 steps? That would be great.
Sure. So the reason I say this, I believe that systems beat goals every single time. Everyone jot that down in your notes. It's a fundamental principle. I believe that all of us have methodologies that drive us. You probably have a methodology that relates to your health. You have a methodology that relates to your relationship. You have a methodology that relates to your business. So one of my methodologies, one of my core beliefs is that systems beat goals every single time. The reason I hold that belief is that systems are duplicatable. Systems are repeatable, and systems is something that you can hand off to someone else to do. And so let me frame the question and talk about why systems are so important. So there I was started. I was a business owner, and I wasn't a young business owner. I've been in business 5 years. I knew to focus on sales. I knew sales was important, but the money wasn't still coming in. I'd had some highs and some lows, and I had reached a point, and maybe you've done this before. You reach a point where you're trying to make everybody else rich, and I'm going broke. Okay. And that might not never happen to you. Maybe that's not your story, and it's okay. Like, it's okay if you still want to work and be safe and do this part-time or do a full-time job and be a full-time entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong being a 9-to-5 millionaire, right? But even if you're not a 9-to-5 millionaire, even if you're someone who does this full-time, you've had some cycles. And I couldn't figure it out because I was working so hard. I was the guy that would make the 50 cold calls a day. Back then, you could do cold calls, right? Back then, you could spam folks. I would send out 50 emails and spam folks. You could do some things to try to get in front of strangers to share how you solve a problem. And I still wasn't able to break the cycle of revenue. Have you ever felt like you've done everything you thought you can do? You ever reached a point where you couldn't work any harder at all? And yes, I tried to do what this guru has said. And yes, I tried to do what that person said. But in the core, I wasn't keeping what I would call the main thing, which is what system in place do I have to do 2 things? Put these 2 things in your notes. Generate new leads, which is a lead to me is I've identified someone who at least has an interest, want, and desire in what I'm doing. So it could be a lead that just went into my database. It could be a lead for some of you as someone that said, yes, I like what you're doing. So what was that? How was I doing that? And number 2, how was I conveying the message that I could solve a problem, whether they work with me or not? And what I noticed, I didn't have a system. I noticed that I was always saying, well, I hope this person buys. I hope they do it. I need them to do it. First stepping back and saying, no, I've got a system and everyone's not for me. Everyone's not going to buy. And if I don't get the sale, it's okay. I took that pressure off. Here's the system that we put together. It's one of our signature pieces. It's called the Evergreen Revenue Model. And the Evergreen Revenue Model is something that I kind of created at the time because I was thinking, how do I do something one time and my labor's no longer involved? And this model, this system could go on without my ongoing supervision. Now, I'm going to talk from the perspective of having leads in the business because there's no other way to get new customers. There's no other way to get new revenue. There's no other way to build the business but to bring in new clients. I believe this. You can put this in your notes. I believe that your existing network of folks who know who you are, who you're nurturing and so forth, I believe they're going to make you very, very financially well off. You'll be able to take fancy vacations. I believe that. You'll be able to hire people. I believe that. But I believe that strangers, put this in your notes, strangers will make you wealthy. Strangers will make you wealthy. So the list of people who don't know you're on the planet today is so much longer than the people who know you that I had to focus on a system. That's why I'm saying systems, Evergreen Model. How do I get in front of more folks? And there's only really 3 ways to do that. You can jot these 3 things in your notes that we said as a system. I could talk one-to-one to new strangers. That means I can make phone calls or go to events and talk one-to-one to strangers. Or I could talk 1 to many to strangers. That means right now, and in this time that I'm here, this hour that LaWanna and I are together having this conversation, this 1 hour that I'm having is probably worth 10,000 hours. Because let's say that 10,000 of you watch this 1 hour of time. I'm talking one to many strangers. And so I said, I need a system. And that's why I like what LaWanna does with this whole media piece. If you haven't talked to LaWanna, this is real talk. I don't get a check out of any of this, by the way, but talk to LaWanna about how can you have a platform that uses media to build your media empire to reach strangers or people who don't know you're even on the planet as a way of providing value. So as you listen to me, hopefully you're getting value out of this conversation. And so part of the system that I decided was I wanted to go one to many to strangers. And I had to get over the phobia, not of the camera, but of the technology. And why is that, Shay? Well, I'll give you an example. I used to walk around telling myself, I'm not a techie. I'm not a techie. I'm not a techie. And that was my song. And I held on to that as an entrepreneur with pride. I don't do techie stuff. That's not my thing. It's too confusing. And then one day I was working with someone and we were supposed to do this broadcast like we're doing now. And the person couldn't be there. And I was petrified because we were going to have to cancel something. And I did not want to do that. And I'm like, well, can you help me? And they said, I can't help you. And it took me about 6 hours to figure out how to make everything plug in. Because back then you had to have a box that plugged into a live stream box that plugged into something else that then had an app that got through to YouTube, that made it YouTube live. It was a bunch of stuff you had to do. And we had microphones and other stuff. What's the point, Shay? In that frustration and spending the time, I learned how to do it in 6 hours and it worked. And I told myself this is a mindset. And then I'm gonna give you a technical side. The mindset I told myself is that I will never say I'm not a techie ever again. I will tell myself each day I'm getting better and better at being a techie. And that's the message I want for you. If there's something that's just holding you back from sales, and maybe you tell yourself, I'm not in sales. I'm not a sales professional. I'm not a sales expert. That's not what I do. Yeah, you can hire someone to do it, but that's not what I do. Change those words right now. This is a system I want to give you before I give you something technical. Tell yourself this. Each day I'm getting better and better at sales. Each day I'm getting better and having these type of conversations that I'm having with LaWanna right now. Each day I'm getting better and better at media and using media to expose me to new folks. If you adopt that as a system, mindset system first, and then a system of getting in front of strangers who don't know who you are, with the purpose of serving, then you will see your business shift. You'll see your business change. And as a result, you'll serve more people. You'll have more impact. You'll have more influence. And then I promise you, you'll have more income. So systems be goals every single time. Number one system I want you to focus on is how do I get in front of strangers as an entrepreneur that don't know who I am? And the reason I say this, LaWanna, just real quickly, and hopefully this is helping you guys as well, is you got to think about what's your responsibility as a CEO? What's your responsibility as an entrepreneur every day? You said, Shay, what's my responsibility? I'm going to say it's only to do two things. And I'll share the story of Michael Jordan. Now, look at they got this new software now, but of Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan was probably considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, right? And they asked Michael Jordan on an interview. I was watching an interview, LaWanna, and they asked him, and he's won a bunch of championships. And probably, I say, one of the greatest basketball players, at least in my generation. They said, Michael Jordan, how were you so successful? You could win 6 championships, 6 MVPs. And Michael Jordan, back then they called him MJ, he said, my job every day was only to do 2 things. I was either playing basketball at the highest level possible. So when I stepped on that court, I played the highest level possible. That's my number one job. And when I wasn't doing that, my second job was to go to the gym and practice so I could play basketball at the highest level. What's that mean to you, the entrepreneur? How does that relate to you? Your number one job every day, and LaWanna can help you with this, is to talk to people that have a problem. That's your number one job every single day. You got to evangelize the message as the entrepreneur, as the CEO. And when you're not talking to people, not selling them, but talking to them that there's a problem that exists on the planet. That's why you're here. When you're not doing that, this is a system, then your second responsibility is to go to your system to find people who have a problem. You adopt just that 2-step focus. You have a system that will help you help people, and the money will come.
We're going to do a quick breakaway, and we're going to come back with the amazing sales guru, Shay Brown. Welcome back to the second half of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I'm LaWanna Bradford here with none other than Shay Brown, and we are talking about how to leverage a sales system to increase your bottom line. And in this market, it takes a system, and it takes a method and belief in what it is that you're doing and showing up. We can intend all day long, Shay, right? But if I'm not committed, then it may happen, it may not. So having that commitment to what it is that you say you're going to do, standing boldly in it, having the belief, understanding how you solve a problem, to whom you solve the problem for, and then having that communication, that message. And one of the things that I'm doing, Shay, right now is I was just recently part of, and you've been part of this leadership experience tour, and I spoke about the R3 system, and that's for another time. But again, it's a systematic way that when businesses hit the wall, how do you rise up in a way to refocus yourself and move forward? And what I'm doing now is every single platform that I'm on, I'm leveraging that same message over and over and over again, right? Because I want the R3 to be synonymous with LaWanna Bradford and the Bradford Group. It's just like with you, the evergreen sales model is synonymous with Shay Brown and in the your easy sales hub. There we go. And so let's talk a little bit about leveraging platforms. And how can entrepreneurs do that? Because they may think, well, first of all, I don't know how to get on a platform. If anyone would be interested, how do I even find the audience that may in fact be my clients? And I might throw this last thing to you, Shay. Many entrepreneurs are just happy to have a client. I mean, right? We're just happy that someone's saying, hey, I will buy from you. But we don't evaluate, was that really the right client? Was that really our intended person? And that's a different conversation, because I know with me, I had to sit back, especially during the mortgage crisis, to say, if I'm going to survive, the people who I thought were going to be my clients, if I keep chasing them, I'm going to go the way of the dodo bird. I got to find a new client that is resilient for today's marketplace. And then I've got to let them know that I'm here and this is what I can do for them. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so there's two things. One, if you're taking notes, put this in your notes. Your words will make you rich. And I want to start there, because one thing I want to talk about is understanding your messaging, understanding what you're saying, why you're saying it, and how you're saying it. There's one area that will make the fastest impact is in your words, because it's in what you say, how you say it, and when you say it. And the number one challenge I believe that's facing entrepreneurs, yes, as LaWanna said, is make sure you have the right customer. But I know there's two types of folks out there. There's some of you out there that, paying your mortgage is important right now. Making sure you hit the payroll is very tough, and you're taking on business because you have to. I've been there more than one time, and I've taken on some clients that I didn't feel was a good fit. And I jumped through a lot of hoops, because getting the dollar in the door and the revenue in the door could relieve so many pressures. But that's not a system, and that's not a model you want to run, right? And then there's others of you out there right now where the money's coming in, the clients are coming in, and you're looking right now at really building a team so that you can move faster, because you understand this one concept. And this is where I'm going, LaWanna, with this. You all can jot this down in your notes, that success is a team sport. You can only get so far by yourself. And so as an entrepreneur, yes, you want to build your skills, but you also have the ability to collaborate with other folks. One of our 12 rules for life, we've got 12, but one of them is collaboration crushes competition. Collaboration crushes competition. So I want you to think inside of what you're doing in your organization, how are you collaborating with other entrepreneurs who have your customer? You see, sometimes folks think that it's all about them talking to someone and convincing someone and having this conversation or saying something really fancy on the stage that moves the world to go buy from them. But isn't it true that it's just as profitable sometimes to be the bridge, right? You think about Apple, you think about the products they sell. Apple only sells like 30% of all the products they have in their store. The other 70% of revenue comes from relationships and affiliates they have with other folks to drive the money in. And I always joke, and I always say this so honestly, and I believe it. I believe God is a woman and she has an iPhone, right? Because who else could think of such a wonderful, amazing platform to serve people? Now, even if you're an Android lover, you got to appreciate the business model. So how does that relate to you, the entrepreneur? How does it relate to you helping you generate more revenue? How does that relate to you in the business? Because maybe relating to Apple is kind of tough, right? It relates to you. You think about having a sales affiliate team, a team of folks where you have an affiliate where the answer to who don't have to be you. You're able to partner with, I'll say, a LaWanna. And LaWanna saw me partner with another organization. I'm there to serve, but through that partnership, they're referring folks to me and I'm referring folks to them. So imagine if you're a business coach, I'm saying a business coach for now, and you had a relationship with someone who's a website designer. And the web designer is referring business to you to help them coach, and you're referring business to the web designer. Isn't that kind of cool as a system? As a system, systems beat goals every single time, that you've got revenue coming in from someone who's in circles you're not in. They've got clients you would have never have met. They're doing marketing that does not involve your labor, but they're referring people back to you because they understand one thing or two things you do really, really well. And now that's a system, it's a lead generation system, leads that are coming in that know who you are, that may have an interest, want, and desire. Now, I want you to take a look at your revenue over the last 30 days, the last 90 days. How much revenue came in from what we would call affiliates? We call them your sales affiliate team of folks as part of your system, that in doing so, they're driving customers to you. Now, LaWanna's right. You've got to know who your customer is. I get that. But once you've identified who your customer is, once you know the problem that you're solving, the answer to who don't have to be you, it's time for you to step out now and have collaborations. Again, I'm going to say the point that I want to make, and I hope you hear this loud and clear. Maybe I'm speaking to you. You're picking up what I'm putting down, that you don't have to be the answer to everyone's problem. It's just as profitable to be the bridge to the solution they're looking for. So what's the point? What's the message? Your sales affiliate system that you have in place will help you get into markets and places you're not in. And it's not about me, but I can tell you about myself and a client. I got a call. I'm on the call because someone had referred someone to me and said, that's the place to go to if you need a sales team to work with you to generate revenue. And I want you to look at that as a system that you can have. This is real talk. You can do it by yourself. I believe by yourself, you do very, very well. Many of you are going to make $200,000 plus a year. Life is good. Some folks, if they make $20,000 a year, life is amazing. It's good. Them and their family okay. And I get all that. But let me tell you, when you make $20,000 a day or you make $100,000 in a month, you can do so much faster. And for most of you, not all of you, you can do it by yourself. For most of you to get to that barrier, where as a CEO, you're generating $100K a month, and at some point, $100K a day of revenue into your bank account, you're going to have to embrace the idea of having a team. Having LaWanna is having someone on your team that can help you. Building a sales team is having someone that can generate revenue when you're not there. So my point to him, LaWanna, is part of the sales system is embracing the idea of having a team. And if you don't want to sell, I'll say it like that. If you hate sales, I'll say it like that. Here's my solution. The best thing you can do is hire someone who does. Doesn't have to be Shay Brown, although we're, I think, one of the only teams out there that will sell for you, but it doesn't have to be us. I'm not saying that, but you find someone that's a good fit for you. You embrace the idea with or without me. You bring them aboard and you allow them to help generate revenue without your labor. Now you can pay them a commission. You can pay them as part of an affiliate. There's a lot of ways you can pay them without any money directly coming out of your bank account. Because I know for some of you, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any money. You want me to spend money I don't have? But let me say this. As a CEO, if I can give you a CEO dashboard right now, let's just say that. I'm coming to you, LaWanna. And on the CEO dashboard, there's one big indicator, like driving down the road, you have an indicator of odometer. There's one. You know what it would be? It would be sales. That's number one. Number one, without a doubt. If there's one meeting the CEO is going to take, that's you, the CEO is going to take, is with your sales. You want to know what the revenue is. But what's the second indicator you would put on that CEO dashboard? This is something you look at every morning because sales is happening with or without you. Okay. Money's going out with or without you. What's the second indicator on your CEO sales dashboard that you would look at as a CEO? You want to know what it is? It doesn't matter. Because without sales, you can't fund number two. And so I say that to you to tell you that sales is serious business. Sales is equal service. Sales is a way to make a difference. And we're always selling an idea, our beliefs, or different products or services. You're in the selling business. Welcome. You can sell and you can serve.
I love this. This has been amazing. Shay, I can't believe we are almost out of time. There's so much information here that you shared. And I just want to encourage those of you that are wondering, okay, how do I even move forward? That's where success leaves clues. As Shay said, you don't have to know everything, but you lean into those experts who've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, who can show you how to navigate through the minefields to achieve the goals and objectives that you want, so that you can show up in a service in such a way that you become memorable, you become indelible, and that you ultimately have the impact, influence, and income that you want. So I've put Shay's contact information below. He and his team can talk to you about the Evergreen Sales Model. You can learn more about him if you want him and his team to come and help train perhaps your sales force. That's a conversation that you can have with him. But he also, and I know we're partnering with him to help us in our new phase, right? Because what I realized, Shay, in the 17 plus years I've been in business with the Bradford Group, and this was a hard pill to swallow, is just in my time of journaling, I heard, why are you hiding behind the brand? I thought, I'm not hiding behind the brand. It's like, well, yeah, you are. It's like the Bradford Group, and we know what the Bradford Group does. And you're the CEO, but really, who are you? What is your message? What is your big why? Why do you matter? What have you done that has caused the company to still be successful? And so that's where now, as people look in the last 8 months, there's a lot of LaWanna facing, right? Because I think once you know and become endeared to me and that passion, which is the values principles of the Bradford Group, it's only going to help us to go farther, faster. But I am so grateful that our paths intersect almost 4 years ago, Shay, because through this partnership, and I call all my coaches partners, I've learned how to better position, how to better represent, and he's going to know things I don't know. I do sales, and I do sales well, but would I say I'm a sales expert? Am I going to stand on this stage training on sales? No. Not necessarily so. Maybe just someone that's just starting, I can give you some fundamentals. But if I'm wanting to link arms with that person who can help me scale with the right message to the right audience so that I'm memorable and making that impact, then that's where Shay Brown and his team have come into play for me. So again, I just encourage you all to reach out to learn more. Google him. He's all over the map. You can learn some wonderful things about the work that they're doing. But Shay, I want to give you a few more minutes before we close out, because we're going to close out in 5, just to share whatever pressing message that you want to leave with our listening audience, especially our women entrepreneurs who find I'm still struggling. I've got this dream, but I'm scared to jump out on my own. Or as you said, I hear what you're saying, but I don't have the money to invest. What can they do? Shay.
Sure. So there's 2 things that I want to share. Number one, that you're all amazing. You're already incredible. You've got so much greatness inside you. You've got everything you need right now to be successful. You really do. I also share that people buy you before they buy your products or services. Now, this is very, very important. LaWanna mentioned about being behind the scenes. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of ways, but at the end of the day, they're buying you. Okay. Oftentimes, what you're offering can be found anywhere, on any place. I mean, with ChatGPT, you can go there. With the Google, you can go there. With Bard and so many other things, they can get an answer to a problem. But I want you to hear me from the bottom of my heart. And this is a little shayism, but I believe it's so important. For so long, I told you I'm part of the Puff Daddy generation. We've got our AARP card. We got remixes on everything, everything. For so long, I was taught that you got to help people get out of a pain, or you got to help them expand a pleasure. And they were so right. Tony Robbins was right. Lisa Nichols was right. Whoever you follow, they were right. Help them get out of a pain and they will pay you. Help them release that pleasure, they will pay you. But let me give you the new way that you can sell and serve. Then I believe this. Try to say in your notes that people pay for possibilities. And the only way to get the possibilities, and that's the possibility of working with you, or what's going to transform on the other side. That's the benefits you're going to offer. So they pay for possibilities. So you're always sharing the possibilities. Don't worry about trying to trick them or convince them. But what's the possibilities? And number two, they pay big dollar for your perspective, your view of the world. So once you identified the possibilities, once you connect them to your perspective and they believe you can solve the problem, put this in your notes, there's the 3 Ps, people will pay you today if you help them solve a problem today, then you'll see your business go to another level. You'll see your trajectory go to another level. So I want you to slow down, not in the business, but slow down in what you're doing on a daily basis. Connect to enhance the one skill, which is sales, that will solve any business problem that you have today. So I close with saying, you're amazing. You've got greatness. And I believe for you, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is to come. Continue to connect with LaWanna. Plug into this particular broadcast that she does, because not only is she bringing the experts, not only is she bringing people that's out there, but she's bringing everyday people like me. And I'm just like you, no different than you, that are implementing real ideas for real people to get real solutions. And every day we get a little bit better. We have our challenges. We're not perfect. But one thing we do know is that we can help you get to what you need faster with less effort. Back over to you, LaWanna. Keep doing what you're doing. I acknowledge you. I love this real talk. I love how we can have a real conversation, not just talk about theory in a chocolate factory somewhere. No. We're talking about what we're doing today in today's time. Yeah, we might have been in business 1,000 years, but it's not about 1,000 years ago. It's about how can we help you today be where you want to be tomorrow. And we're doing it together through this collaboration. And the time where most folks, LaWanna, they're trying to keep their platforms and people and holding to themselves, LaWanna's opening it up and said, no. Here's the resources you need. So thanks, LaWanna, for having me here. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tune in. If you got some value, share. If you got some value, connect with me. I think she put it down below at I am Shay Brown. Let's connect, because you can see me, but I can't see you. So I would love to see you. Love to see what you're up to. I want to be involved in what you're doing. So let's connect. You can find me online at I am CHE Brown. At I am CHE Brown. I'll see you on the other side. Over to you, LaWanna.
Love that. Thank you so much, Shay, for joining. And all of his contact information is below his website, as well as you can find him on social media at IamShayBrown.com. Sales guru extraordinaire, friend and partner. And he's the real deal, folks. So I hope that this show brought value for you. And as he said, if it did, please go back, listen to it again. You're going to get some more the second time around, but also share, because there's individuals that are looking to level up their game, but they don't know how, they don't know who to connect with. And here is one of our valuable resources and partners that we're sharing with the world. And I want to leave you with one lasting thought. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next Tuesday for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. And thank you again, Shay. And for all of you out there, remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. We'll see you next week. Be blessed, everyone.
Peace.